Dude, love the show. Here's money towards a haircut. Not happening. It's not happening, Corey, but thank you very much. Elon wants to chip your brain. Davos wants hackable humans. Wake up. All right. Again, I bring up chats and comments with which I don't necessarily agree or don't have an opinion on. And sometimes I bring chats up that are offensive because I didn't read them before. Okay. Johnny Depp, summary of week 1. You are going to accuse me of being biased, and you are within your rights to do it. I departed from the position that I didn't necessarily think it was a good idea for Johnny Depp to sue for defamation against Amber Heard in the United States. I said it's not necessarily something I would recommend, or at the very least, it would come with a lot of caveats. It would come with a cover my butt disclaimer. Mr. Depp, Viva Frei, as your attorney, has warned you of all of the risks and perils. You think that this is going to be your day in court. You're going to tell your story. People are going to rejoice in your victimhood. Johnny, you've lived a very wild life, which means that you have some ups and some downs, and you have some behavior that will become public that the general public might, have certain moral qualms with. You might have some very bad behavior in your more difficult times, which is going to become public and which may not be received by the public the way you think it's going to be received, if you have even appreciated that it is in fact going to become public. So that's where I started off with this. Depp sued The Sun in the UK for defamation because they alluded to the fact that he was a domestic abuser. They used a word, which I'm not sure that I want to use, but the dog is growling under my chair. They used a word to describe him as a domestic abuser. He sued in the UK and lost. And after losing on the defamation case against The Sun in the UK, came back to the States and is suing Amber Heard. They've had a wild life. They've had, drug-induced episodes, which, some people might say are immoral, reckless, violent, whatever. He's suing Amber Heard for defamation because she made several public statements also suggesting that she was the victim of domestic abuse. The necessary implication is at the literal hands of Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp lost gigs. I think he lost one of the Pirates of the Caribbean sequel, prequels, whatever. Tens of millions of dollars, $50 million, I think he's suing for. She's counterclaiming for $100 million. That's the context. My overall impression was that I think he might lose the suit, and in losing it, might actually confirm some of the statements or some of the, what's the word? Not aspirations. Aspersions. Some of the aspersions that Amber Heard cast on him. The good and the bad is going to come out in testimony, and Johnny Depp is going to have to admit to certain things, or it's going to come out that he's done bad things. That was my perspective. So maybe I'm looking through this trial, the first 3 days of testimony, with that perspective in mind. One of the many smart things my dad has always said is when you're looking for your golf ball in the forest, because that's typically where I used to end up, anything white will catch your eye. You're gonna be looking for anything white. So everything that's a speck of white, you're gonna say, "Oh, my golf ball." And in that sense, I'm looking at this trial, possibly looking for indications to confirm my foregone prediction that Johnny Depp should not have filed suit. And so anything that's white, I'm looking at like a golf ball. So any bad element that comes up is like, look, I told you that was going to come up. This is why I don't think you should have sued. So that's it. Now they've had a few witnesses. They've had Amber Heard's personal assistant, who came off as tremendously against Amber Heard and quite biased towards Johnny Depp. Who else did we have? The sister. I think I missed her testimony. The couples therapist. I caught that testimony. And and then there was that other witness who got interrupted mid-testimony because the court somehow determined that she was watching clips of testimony, and that's a no-no. In court, in trials, witnesses are excluded during testimony so that one witness does not get influenced or craft their testimony around testimony already given by another. And so they're excluded. They're not supposed to watch the testimony until they're called. After they've testified, they can stay in court. Typically, you ask for specific exclusion of witnesses, although it's known. Apparently, this witness was watching clips online, and the rumor has it that she might have stumbled across illegal bites, an Alita clip. And the lawyers found out, called a sidebar, asked the judge. The judge asked outright, "Witness, have you been watching clips of the trial?" And the witness said yes. And the judge said, gone, and your testimony up until now is struck. So that's it. I don't think that's devastating for Johnny Depp. I don't think that's neither here nor there, and I don't think the impact is going to be meaningful, but it's funny to watch in real time. Where I think the juxtaposition of two testimonies confirms what my foregone conclusion. Listening to Amber Heard's assistant talk about how bad Amber Heard was and how angelic Johnny Depp was. Never raised his voice, never violent, never nothing. No, never saw anything remotely aggressive, inappropriate, under the influence, whatever. Knowing that that's probably factually incorrect, having a witness lay that foundation only for a subsequent witness who's much more professional, reputable, if you can say it that way, to come and contradict it is going to be a problem. And so my lips are certainly flapping. You came for the flapping. The witness saying Johnny Depp is an angel, never saw anything bad from him. He entertained my child. He dressed up like the guy from Pirates of the Caribbean, Captain Jack Sparrow from Pirates. No, not Captain Jack Sparrow. Yeah, Jack Sparrow from Pirates of the Caribbean. He's an angel. And then you have the couples therapist come and say, they came to see me because they were having conflict. At some point, I saw bruises on Amber Heard, but I didn't know how they got there. I didn't have any firsthand evidence of any violence. But at one point, in discussing the conflict between the couple, Johnny Depp said, quote, she got as good as she gave. And now you have two juxtaposing testimonies that don't make Johnny Depp look good. And this is the risk that I saw. It's the obvious risk in this trial from the beginning. And I think it's only going to get worse, but it's going to get worse for both parties. The only problem is it's Johnny Depp's lawsuit to win. So he's, if they both look ugly, Johnny Depp doesn't necessarily win in court. Whether or not he wins in the court of public opinion and people realize that this Amber person is a pathological liar, abusive herself, a disgusting, despicable person, and she wrongly blamed Johnny for some of the worst stuff, Johnny might be rehabilitated on a professional front, even if he loses on the court front. So I'm getting facts wrong? Okay, maybe. I don't think I am, but if I am, please let me know. And if the facts are material, let me know. So there's a lot of people who are okay. I'm within my rights to be wrong, people. It'll happen. It will happen. And if you came for what's the word when you can never be wrong? You came to the wrong place, and I don't know where you're going in this world, but the open-fisted hit means a slap. How can he slap? Anyhow, so that was my impression. Whether or not this turns out to be good for the career or rehabilitating for the career, that might be the victory that Johnny Depp wanted, and that might justify the suit, even if it's a suit that I still think is going to be difficult to win, given what's going to come out. We'll see. That's my impression. If you don't like my point of view on this, that is within your rights. And if someone else has infallibility, was the word I'm looking for. If someone else comes up with a more accurate prediction, that might be someone who you might want to rely on more for this type of material. It's your show, so be wrong or right. Look, I'm open. This is what I'm thinking right now. And if I've made mistakes on facts, I will happily recognize it and reassess. But thus far, I watched the couples therapist talk about what both of them relayed to her in therapy. And I think it's going to get worse a little bit in terms of Johnny Depp's things that might have been done in the heat of conflict. Does that make what Amber Heard said sufficiently true or not defamatory? It might be one of those situations where the jury is going to judge based on their disdain for Amber, potentially. We'll see. Okay, so that's my impression of the first week. We haven't had the bombshell testimony. When Amber Heard gets on the stand, that's going to be the bombshell testimony. And here's my prediction, people. We'll see if it comes true. Amber Heard is going to cry on the stand, undoubtedly. That's not the big prediction. I do believe she is going to get triggered into anger or rage on the stand, because I foresee that happening. I see her demeanor in court. I know what I think of Amber Heard, and I do think she's definitely going to cry on the stand, but that type of volatility swings both ways. And I think the tears might be more for, to garner sympathy. And the outburst of rage, which I anticipate is going to happen, is going to be because she expects to be believed and she will not take kindly to being questioned and certainly not having her face rubbed in some of the things that will become revealed she, in fact, did in the context of this trial. So that's my prediction. Clip it. 28 minutes in. We'll see if it comes to fruition. We'll continue watching. I'm going to bounce between Alita's Legal Bites coverage and Rekieta's, and maybe during Amber Heard's testimony, live stream it myself. We'll see. So that's it. But I am getting bored of the Johnny Depp story. I think it's just a sad story. I mean, it's entertainment. It's entertainment in the courtroom. And if nothing else, people are going to learn about law from this the same way they learned about law from what I think was the wrongful prosecution of Kyle Rittenhouse. Okay. I always look for your opinion and the facts that you provide specifically because you acknowledge your wrongs where other people brush it off. I don't like being wrong because the problem, if you're wrong, people might think you were wrong deliberately. And if you do not correct an accidental wrong, the question is then, does it become deliberate? The wrong itself was accidental, but the failure to correct is deliberate. To the extent you are become aware of the fact that it was factually wrong. Like the time Legal Eagle in his video said, what was his name? Rafikian, convicted. Michael Flynn's convicted Rafikian business partner, without specifying that the conviction was overturned by the judge. This was before it was reinstated by the Court of Appeal, before it was re-suspended and sent back for new trial. But, partial facts can be a mistake. The failure to correct a material factual inaccuracy, once it's brought to the person's attention and it's bona fide, not a question of opinion, then arguably, the failure to correct becomes deliberate. CNN, Brian Stelter, I'm looking at you. And I saw another super chat, but before that, I see some strawmanning in the argument. Viva Frei thinks women are always the victim. I think that's quite literally the opposite of what I'm saying, unless that's sarcasm, but I do like your avatar, Sonny Crockett. Miami Vice. The best. That was the best television show for a long time. Viva is real. Aren't we all? Gen X has grown up aware of JD's struggles with drug abuse and his immature ability to destroy hotel rooms because he could afford to. And JD acknowledges all of it. Like him or not, no one deserves to have an AH destroy them with lies. No, I agree. And especially like, not to bring up mutual combat, but if it is, the argument was made. It's a compelling argument from the other attorneys on the panel. If it's both giving and getting in the context of fights that one might be initiating, aggression that one might be initiating, that's one thing. But then to come out and depict it as entirely one way to steal the valor. I mean, to steal the victimhood of bona fide victims. That's where it becomes a big problem on both ends of it. And the reality is, if Amber Heard turns out to be the pathological liar that many people think she is, it's going to do damage to the movement where other people who are bona fide, genuine victims, when someone lies about it, it affects all victims because it makes it harder for victims to come out in the future, and it makes people more reluctant to believe the victimhood in the future. You can't fool me. It's turtles all the way down. Oh yeah, I'll go see what the results of that poll were. What were the results of the poll? That's me again. I don't want to hear that. All right, it was 77% to 23% who wanted to hear the update on Johnny Depp. Done with that. Okay,